From Dawg Pound Daily, 3 most important non-starters for the Browns in 2022. Number 3, one of those offensive tackles, one of the swing tackles, Chris Hubbard. Number 2, Chase Winovich. And number 1, Jacoby Brissette. So I've talked about it before, and I think it was with you even. I think an underrated injury last year was Chris Hubbard. You know, when you had Wills banged up, Conklin going down, there were games where you're playing with your 4th and 5th tackles. That's rough for any NFL team to be doing.
Yeah, technically, I know if it was their 5th tackle, they're shooting guards out there. You know, it was all hands on deck. But yeah, Hubbard's instrumental. He's got so much experience, left to right, anywhere on the end. He can play guard even. You know, he's a super experienced guy and he can step in. And with Conklin's kind of uncertain health coming into this year, Hubbard is going to be very instrumental. And he's instrumental in Hudson's development. Hudson, you know, he started to come along towards the end of last year and showed he could be serviceable. And I'm sure they want him to take a bigger role, you know, in the long term. But not being forced into that role like he was last year could be huge for him in his development. So Hubbard being on the team, kind of being that bridge guy, I think that is huge for this team. When it comes to the Winovich, I think he's very underrated. What they need to do, the Browns on the defensive side of the ball, is limit Miles' snaps. You know, you want to keep him in that 800 range. Last year, I think he was around 865. You know, you want to keep him as fresh as possible. And having someone like Winovich, you can come in and give you a threat off the edge when Miles is on the sideline getting a little breather. that is completely, and that's invaluable. You know, you really need somebody to provide a threat. And even though physically he has a different makeup than Takk McKinley, he's going to be supplanting that Takk McKinley role. The guy who's going to come in and just, you know, be able to get after it on a limited number of snaps and be as productive as possible, just so the offense can't really let up just because 95 sitting on the sidelines.
And Brissette, you know, that's pretty evident. They're going to be how many ever games Deshaun Watson is suspended for. It's going to be Jacoby Brissette's show.
Yeah, I mean, that goes without saying, like the quarterback position is paramount. And your backup quarterback, he can't be a weak link. He has to be someone that can step in and, you know, hold it all together. Now, you don't need him to be a world beater, especially with the Browns roster. They're not going to ask him to go out there and put the games on his shoulder every week. But you need to have someone with experience. And what's key with Jacoby is his durability. He is a big man, you know, and I think that's playing into this. And he's athletic enough to do a lot of the things that Deshaun was doing. He's not really going to attack the line of scrimmage running, but the stuff in the pocket, the rollouts, you know what I mean? Just being that physical presence back there. And the experience, you know, you want someone who's seen the bullets fly and kind of knows what to expect, so there's not a huge letdown when he comes in.
Yeah, and people will point to his record as a starter, and it's not great. But keep in mind, when he had the starting job in Indianapolis, that offense was designed for Andrew Luck. When he had the starting job for 4 games with Deflategate, that offense was designed for Tom Brady. Those are very different skill sets than what I would assume the Browns offense will be asking him to do.
Yeah, he's never been on a roster like this. He's never had an offensive line like this. Now, the Colts offensive line, when Jacoby was there, was good. This offensive line has the potential to be great. And the running game. I mean, you have 3 serviceable backs, one of which is absolutely elite. And Hunt, I mean, on any given Sunday, man, he could take a game over by himself. So it's not going to be all on Brissette when he's in there. But he's going to be tasked, you know, honestly, just to keep it on the tracks and keep it moving and not lose games. And I think that he's more than, you know, adequate in that event.